Imagine watching your critics celebrate your downfall a little too early. Imagine the whispers, the headlines, the smug grins from rivals thinking the story was finally over. And then boom, a twist no one saw coming. That's exactly what just happened with Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever. They said she was done, that the hate had finally cracked her, that without her on the court, the Fever would crumble. But what happened next flipped the entire season and left Caitlin's haters in absolute shambles. This isn't just another game recap. This is a reckoning dot, because while Clark was sidelined, her team delivered a seismic statement. They didn't just survive, they conquered. And they did it in a way that might have just changed everything for the rest of the WNBA season. Stick around, because in the next few minutes, we're breaking down the game that humiliated ESPN, exposed the hypocrisy of Clark's loudest critics, and reignited the championship dreams of a franchise many had already buried. And yes, we're naming names, exposing double standards, and showing you exactly why this isn't the end of the Caitlin Clark saga. It's the beginning of her revenge arc. Free agents came in. They launched that unapologetic Now You Know campaign. And Caitlin Clark, she entered the league ready, stronger, sharper, and determined. Then it all unraveled. A storm of injuries, toxic narratives, and chaos engulfed the team. Clark went down with a 5-game injury. A hate speech investigation rattled the locker room. ESPN and social media vultures circled, hungry to declare her a bust. One of the most watched rookies in years was being picked apart before she even got a chance to breathe. And while she made a defiant return with a masterclass performance against the Liberty, the next few games felt like a gladiator arena. Clark became a target physically and verbally. Cheap shots flew. Refs turned blind eyes. And in a cruel twist, she was injured again in garbage time against the Storm, forcing her out of the Commissioner's Cup final. Everyone assumed it was over. Even ESPN, in an epic blunder, declared the Fever had lost during the third quarter of the game. They literally published the headline, "Lynx dominate Fever to win Commissioner's Cup," while the game was still going. But the Fever hadn't read that script. They turned the game on its head with an 18-0 run that silenced the crowd and flipped the narrative in real time. Natasha Howard stepped up and claimed the MVP crown like she'd spoken it into existence. The team played like Warriors-focused, fearless, united. No clock on the court. No problem. They didn't just win. They dominated, and that, right there, broke something for the haters. The moment the final buzzer sounded, it was like someone flipped a switch, and the haters lost their minds. Suddenly, winning didn't count. Suddenly, the Commissioner's Cup wasn't a real championship. Suddenly, it didn't matter that Caitlin Clark had carried the team to the final with her near triple-double against the previously undefeated Liberty. The same voices who had mocked her for not being a winner now said she didn't play in the final. It doesn't count. But let's rewind. Remember when Angel Reese didn't even show up for Unrivaled's championship game? That didn't stop the media from creating graphics, posting tributes, and celebrating her as a champion. 2 titles for Angel, 0 for Caitlin. That was the narrative used to drag Clark through the mud. Now that Caitlin's team wins a legit WNBA mid-season title with prize money, high stakes, and real competition, it's suddenly invalid because she wasn't on the floor for 40 minutes. Let's be honest, this wasn't about the trophy. It was about control. Clark's success disrupts the established order. She represents change and a wave of attention that the league's longtime players weren't ready for. And the pettiness, it was loud. She finished 9th in player voting for the All-Star game. 9th behind one of her own teammates. You can't spin this any other way. This was a message, and it was personal. But here's where it gets even more frustrating. Caitlin Clark's injury and media pressure didn't just test her, tested the Fever. And they didn't crumble. They grew. They rallied. They found themselves in the fire. Natasha Howard was a monster. Sophie Cunningham was ice-cold clutch. Aaliyah Boston looked like a future dynasty leader. And Lexi Ho, she's not just filling a role. She's defining it. This wasn't just a lucky night. This was a proof of concept. The Fever can win without Clark, which is terrifying news for every team banking on her being the sole engine. It's also a blessing in disguise for Caitlin herself. because now she doesn't need to rush back. No more playing hurt. No more risking re-injury just to silence doubters. The win gave her time. It gave her breathing room. And most importantly, it gave her a team she can trust to keep winning while she heals. The Fever aren't just surviving anymore. They're ascending. There's a storm coming, and it has nothing to do with Seattle. With the Fever's Commissioner's Cup victory, the WNBA landscape just shifted, and Caitlin Clark's return isn't a question of ifs. But when she does come back, she'll be joining a team that's no longer fractured, no longer fragile. She'll be walking into a locker room that knows it can win big without her. And that's the most dangerous version of the Fever we've seen yet. No longer desperate, no longer dependent. Now they're balanced, confident, dangerous. With Ari McDonald now locked in for the season, the offense becomes more dynamic, the pace quicker, and the bench deeper. This allows the Fever to phase Caitlin back in, not throw her into the fire. They won't need her to carry the entire load end. That means she can play freely, play smart, and play healthy. That alone is terrifying for the rest of the league. But what truly terrifies the haters isn't just her return, it's what her return represents. A fully rested Caitlin Clark, supported by a confident, championship-tested roster, is a threat to the status quo. The media will be there. The cameras will follow. The viewership will spike again. And some players who once begged for the spotlight are already exhausted by it. There's a quiet civil war brewing inside the WNBA. On one side, the veterans and insiders who liked things the way they were, low-key, under the radar, insulated from criticism. On the other, the storm that Caitlin Clark brings, big ratings and fans who are louder, rowdier, and harder to please. And the sad truth, some players would rather lose in peace than win in the spotlight. The resentment is real. Some teammates can't handle the online noise. Some rivals can't handle the sold-out arenas. And others, they just can't handle that the golden goose they begged for looks like Caitlin Clark. But here's the twist they didn't see coming. Caitlin knows. Her teammates know. After the Commissioner's Cup win, she didn't fake humility. She didn't bite her tongue. She looked at the camera and said exactly what the rest of the league didn't want to. Here they're sick, they're mad, and she knows it. This isn't just basketball anymore. This is personal. This is legacy. Caitlin and the Fever are back in the title conversation, and every shot she takes, every game she dominates, every trophy they chase, it's going to hurt. It's going to sting. Because the league isn't just watching a star rise. It's watching the balance of power shift, whether they're ready or not. And make no mistake, the hate will keep coming. The cheap shots won't stop. The refs won't save her. But none of it matters if the Fever keep doing the one thing they just proved they can do even without their star. Win. The script has officially been flipped. Caitlin's haters thought they could write the ending. But this story is far from over. If you believe the Fever are just getting started, drop a trophy emoji in the comments. And if you want to see how Caitlin Clark's return could ignite the second half of the WNBA season, check out our next video right here on the channel. Because trust me, the war's just beginning.